So we're covering the basics here. And I wrote this right on the chart because it was important, because that's where I'm at with this stuff too. I just have a little more confidence because, you know, I'm making the charts and I have a lot of time. I put a lot of time into it, hours, as opposed to, you know, can I rattle this off in 10 minutes? So what it is since each one of the scale members, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, is in two of the string shapes. Okay, so we got 7 is in two of them, 7's in E, and it's also in G. It follows that, and root is in G, and root is also in E. So let's accept that each scale member is part of two string-shaped lettered patterns. Okay, now let's put them together. Each of the pairs of string-shaped lettered patterns that contain the same scale members are in fact cage link shapes. In other words, G is a cage link. Let's look at 7. 7 is in G. The 7 root pair is in G. Now this is a different pair. This is just a couple of notes together, shared notes. The 7 root shared note pair is in G, and the 7 root shared note pair is in E. Well, guess what? When you do the cage system, G goes to E. So that's what's going on down here. Here's your link shapes. Okay, so here's your link shapes. CA, AG, GE, ED, and DC. Those are all the possibilities of the linked pairs. So if we look at 7 root is the outer two notes in the G shape, 6, 7 root. Don't worry if the G label's on here or over here, it's the same thing. And the 7 root are the inner two notes of the E shape. So here we have it, G, 6, 7 root, and E. They're string pattern pairs. All right, and same thing, we look at the D and the C. The D shape has 2, 3, 4. The C shape, so it has 3, 4 as the outer pair. This would be in the bottom string, but it could be in any string now, because the cage shapes are just different arrangements of the stacks of string patterns. So now we're looking at individual strings here. They could be anywhere. If you want to look at the key of G, then you're going to have 6, 7 root 2 on the bottom. And you look all the way up to here, you'd have to put this G on top of that C again, just like it sits there. And then you'd warp the top 2 strings over for the third, the tuning third. And then you'd have your key of G cage with the lone wolf 7 right there. So how does it figure? So we've got a shared note in each one of them. So the A shape is the 5, 6 shape. It's just the only shape that has only 2 notes, and that makes it easier to find on the fretboard. So we have the 5, 6, and then the 6 is shared. So we're just looking at the 6 here. The 6, which is the 6th degree of the Aeolian 6 of any key now. That 6 is shared by the G shape, string shape, and it's shared by the A string shape, and it is indeed in the middle. So each of the pairs of strings shaped lettered patterns that contain the same member are in fact cage link shapes. Okay, good thing we reread that, because I got to tell you that D goes to C in caged. C-A-G-E-D, and then it repeats again, C-A-G-E-D. So the D shape goes back to the C shape, but they share the 3, 4. So I would start the C string shape right there on the 3, 4. So So here's the D string shape. Here's the C string shape. They're a pair right there, no matter where that occurs. So if I look for a D right here, this would also be a C shape right here. And that C shape, where's it going to go? It's going to go up to a G shape, which is the fifth of it in letters. Okay, and etc., etc. So it doesn't matter where it is anymore. It doesn't have to be on the bottom. It just got its name because when, let's say, the C shape is on the bottom, which is the very beginning of your guitar there, that 3, 4, 5, that is the C shape box, the C shape C. Okie dokie. Okay, so let's slow down a little bit. This part I didn't read to you. This is a predecessor to when I made this diagram. And it just says that if we're targeting, let's say, the fourth. Now, but this is interesting because if we're going to use, take the concept a little further, okay, and we're going to identify the fourths and the fifths in the cages, we want to know what shapes are going to share those numbers. And then I extended it to all the way to the different modes here. So in the particular, the fourth, the Lydian root right there, it would be shared by the D and the C. And this is the diagram I made before I made this. So there's your fourth right there. Actually would be, here's your fourth, it's shared by the D and the C. So we know that. And each one of these, so with this diagram, it doesn't really matter what order it's in. You could have the G on the bottom, you could have the D on the bottom, and then you'd have to have, the G, C up there. So you'd have to, you'd want to put the G right there, up there. It doesn't matter the order. It matters when you're playing. But this diagram is versatile like that. So this would be the D shape, and if we have a sixth string, of course we want to put the the D string again on top there. So we could do that. We can show that. Now we're copying it. We're not going to replace it. Okay, so we would have the D shape on top there. Now the only thing left to the C shape doesn't matter down here. We're not looking at that right now. The only thing left to do at this point, whoa, is mess up. The only thing left to do at this point is to warp it over. We got to warp the top two strings because of the tuning third. So we'll do that. In general, I just kind of put it anywhere, and then I'm going to arrange it when I get it there. So hold on, we got to arrange this before we decide that this is a fretboard here. Now, as I know, in the D shape, hold on. Okay, here it is. Now, it was a little tricky because I'm warping over, I'm handling two shapes here. This is the D shape and the C shape. And notice this, the letters line up. On guitar, if the top and bottom notes line up, they do line up. So with these charts, once they're lined up, we know they're correct. And this is the situation where you're getting the D cage and the C cage. So what are we going to do with this? So we've made, a see it as you play it mini piece of a fretboard. If this is the low E, this would definitely be the key of D, and your D would be, where would your D be? Your D is right there, your D shape 5 root 3, and that would be in the key of D.